ставить лайк, обязательно подписаться на канал и оставлять свои хорошие комментарии, ну или какую-нибудь критику, но только хорошую.
Discount, and also a percentage of the money that you spend will go to Child's Play. Child's Play is a great charity. It goes to children who have to spend long periods of time in hospital, so that and it helps them to be able to play video games. Everyone here can agree that that's very important. So if you can donate, please do. But now let's actually jump into the game.
Right, straight into the games.
So yeah, RDU. Let's just talk about RDU's list for a moment here. RDU is playing a very interesting looking rogue. It's not actually Miracle Rogue, as one would expect.
It's just complete pirate rogue, I assume. Yes, it is.
I mean, just looking at the hand here, it's funny because these aren't the most aggressive looking cards. Like Shoku is pretty understated. Zaru also has poor stats for a minion of its of its mana cost, but apparently these go together really well in a deck that's very aggressive.
They actually both brought very aggressive decks. Oh my goodness! If you look at the DrHippi list, it's just complete pirate, whereas the RDU has a bit of a mix. It's not completely pirate, but it's still very aggressive with the Origin Squires, and Cold Blood's gonna be pretty important. And I'm a little surprised on the Shadow Steps. Both of them have a Shadow Step, and I thought the Shadow Step was a card that wasn't that great on other matchups. But I guess you can just you can make the Van Cleef really, really beefy with that.
Yeah,
the battle price might be also important.
There are certainly some interesting variants going around right now with Shadow Step. There are actually a lot of synergies at the moment. There's Swashbuckler, just if you feel the need to get an extra card from your opponent if you're desperate. And just all sorts of cards with Battlecry, or as you said, you can get Huge Edwin with that card.
Very. Also, I see that I said RDU who brought
okay.
Horse Riders. We can just get an extra couple of damage just in case for one extra mana only.
Just need to say apologies for a second. I've been double taking at the deck lists while looking at this, thinking, hang on, I don't see Zaro in RDU's Rogue. Turns out we're actually looking at them the wrong way around. DrHippi is currently playing Rogue. I've just been informed by production. So the Rogue is DrHippi's. RDU is on the top with the Warrior. This is going to get fixed very, very soon, but now I can stop looking so confused because this makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I was a little confused there too, but alright. It's good it's been cleared up.
So RDU on the top, who is playing the more conventional Miracle Rogue, unfortunately has patches in his opening hand, which is obviously not something you ever want when you're playing this package. But otherwise, it's not looking too bad. He's just picked up a Korkron Elite from, I believe, Swashbuckler. Perfectly to play on curve this turn. I'm not actually sure what you at home can see right now, whether it's us or the game, but things will return to normality
I
very
do see
soon,
the green screen for now. As well. So Warrior picked up the Korkron Elite and Leary and Heroic Strike, which is a very, very aggressive hand.
Yeah.
And if you have a hand like that, you really have no choice but to go face with. But in aggro matchups, you usually want to go kill the opponent's cards early on, take the early board control, but doesn't seem that the Warrior can do that right now. Oh, here we go.
Oh, we flipped over. Just been informed that it's us on screen, by the way, Masan, so don't pick your nose or anything.
All right.
Yeah, we're having a huge technology crisis today. Even before we started, all right. Game view, nice. So DrHippi clearly, as we can now see, while we've been looking away, has developed a very nice board there with a nice turn 6 8/8 Edwin Van Cleef, which RDU is going to struggle to deal with, though RDU is putting DrHippi down to 11. With Leroy in hands, he is getting close.
You just need a Mortal Strike or another Heroic Strike to finish the game off, and well, yeah, another Heroic Strike will just finish the game. DrHippi also has a pretty strong board. He can finish the game in a couple of turns, I would say, especially also with the Leary and Cold Blood and a V-Straight in his hand.
Yeah, it's getting to that point now, isn't it? Which I think we've all seen the aggro warrior in so many times where they will lose, like if the board keeps developing the way that it is. But the warrior is so often capable of picking up the exact amount of damage they need. That being said, DrHippi's Fierce Monkey is in the way, and RDU is ready to give it up. It looks like there's no way back for him.
Yeah. One of the most crucial counter for warrior obviously is a taunt, and it's really unfortunate that Shaku gave the taunt to RDU. Well, I mean to DrHippi.
Right. Yeah. It's just the power of Swashbuckler, right? You never know what you're going to get from him. He could have got a shield block, or an Ali Armor Smith. So there are other good things as well, but he also could have gotten a shield slam. So something completely useless.
That would be very unfortunate, or even execute.
Right. We're going to jump into game number 2, which is the same matchup but the other way around. And now, what we were trying to say earlier, RDU's rogue is very, very aggressive. It's not a miracle rogue at all. This is like, I think Muzzy popularized a list very recently, which, as you were saying, with cards like Shadow Step In, and it just has the ability to hit the face very, very quickly with the power of the pirates.
People complain about how rogues and pirates and aggro shamans can finish the game off around turn 5 or 6. And I believe this deck is even faster than that. You can probably lose games or win games by turn 4 even.
Just in case it wasn't obvious before, I just want to mention that both players actually banned the exact same matchups, but obviously the other way around. They both banned their opponent's rogue.
Shaman versus rogue, shaman versus warrior.
Yeah, that's it.
Both of them are banned.
Yeah. Both players obviously knowing... Well, I mean, everyone nowadays knows what the weaknesses to the decks are. We've gotten to that point in the meta where it's pretty solved. And there's not too many exciting techs that actually change things up. So the bans were quite obvious, which is why we're ending up with so many mirror matches as Sottle's prophecy comes true.
I was really hoping to see another, or at least a little more of control matchups. I see that the mid-range shaman has been pretty great against aggro shaman, and there's some other control decks you could bring to counter some of the aggro decks, but we're not really seeing any of them here, do we?
No, what we see here is a lot of patches and a lot of small-time Buccaneer, as I think the players kind of just acknowledging these are the strong cards here.
Also noteworthy that DrHippi also picked up another patch in his hand.
Right.
Or was that the... Actually, it was the other way around, wasn't it?
It was
RDU who picked up the patch.
Yeah, so, you know, patches sharing the love, making sure both players draw him at some point. That's nice.
Make the game a little more even.
Keeping it friendly, yeah. DrHippi, of course, has a lot to prove here. Very, very close to being our world champion last year. He's here. He's here for blood. He may well get the chance to teach Pavel a lesson later on in this tournament. I'm sure he'd love to get there. He's in a good place so far this series.
But also noteworthy, there are only 5 places different from, well, looking at the Ghost Gamers ranking. DrHippi is currently ranked 13th in the world, RDU's 8th. So,
yeah, it's these are what else can we say? These are both the best players in the world and the most popular players in the world. Those two aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. There is a reason that the good players are popular.
Oh boy, what a pickup, by the way. Van Cleef is now going to be, with the help of Inner Rage.
Yeah, when you're playing as a rogue that runs cards like Edwin Van Cleef, you're never really too unhappy with the 0-mana spell, are you?
No, you're not. Well, you're always happy with the 0-mana spells.
Yeah, did I say it the other way around? That was a mistake. Especially one that buffs a minion's attack at the same time. That's exactly what you want here. Inner Rage actually synergizes with Leroy even. For 5 mana, 8 damage rather than 6.
And it'll be just dealing 7 damage. Uh-oh. Was that a mistake? I wonder.
I don't think so. I think he's just getting in... Oh, Oh yeah, okay. The mistake was buffing.
Yeah, a
the floppy
little bit of a
berserker,
mistake
right,
here or
right.
there, but I don't know if it'll make too much difference. We'll see actually though, because the RDU's health is really low. He's at
Yeah.
12 right now, and if
Ooh.
DrHippi can pick up on 1 or 2 more cards, the game could end right there.
Yeah, RDU definitely doesn't look too happy about it. In fact, no, there isn't quite a way DrHippi can pick up lethal this turn, but RDU
Yeah.
has 1 turn left.
Oh yes.
The question is, can he deal this 23 damage in 1 turn? DrHippi making the trade there because he wants to make sure RDU cannot deal the damage. And of course, he knows he is going to have the damage guaranteed next turn anyway.
Wow, that is exactly the light away.
That's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because this also goes to show how big a small mistake like the one RDU just made could have been. Because if it was the other way around, if it was DrHippi with exact lethal,
Yeah, it would have
because
cost him a
RDU
game
took
because of
more
the other
damage.
round.
Right. But that evens things up a bit. Both rogues have actually been superior against both warriors, which could be considered a little bit surprising. I know that quite a lot of the players at the moment are saying that they don't think Rogue is quite as good as they used to think it was.
It's just that Rogue has been very, very big versus an aggro warrior, but that might have to do with the fact that aggro warrior usually can finish the game off before Rogue can develop the board, develop the huge Question Adventures or Big Van Cleave. But in here, they're both playing really also aggressive Rogue, so that will definitely help in that matchup, I think.
Right, absolutely, and as you're saying, like these aren't conventional Rogue lists, and this is going to be a very weird Rogue mirror match. As just to clarify once again, we've seen both of these decks, but we had some screen swapping going on. So just so we're completely clear about what we've got here, DrHippi's Rogue actually runs Beneath the Grounds, a little bit of anti-Reno tech, and as you can see there, it runs Zarul and Shadow Step. It runs 2 Shadow Steps, Argent Squire. Some very unconventional rogue cards. And then RDU's...
I've never seen something like this before, actually.
Right. And
Even in old
RDU's
times.
runs Buccaneer. Like, not just small-time Buccaneer, but actual Buccaneer. There is also a card called Buccaneer, in case you didn't know. And that is it on the left in RDU's hand. He runs Sassy Captain. He runs all of these cards that the Pirate Warrior usually likes to run.
I wonder if a Buccaneer actually will help in this matchup, since it does add the 2 damage, but will that make, well, it adds it to 1 damage to weapon, which adds 2 damage total if you hero power. But
Yeah.
will that actually help this matchup too much?
So an interesting thing is there that RDU could have actually made that play that turn. He could have played Buccaneer, coin, weapon up, but and that would have been great if it wasn't for the fact that SI7 agent was just that little bit better. Maybe in the next few turns he'll be able to do that though, and maybe that extra damage will make a difference. It'll kill Zarul, potentially.
Possibly. But the SI7 is doing obviously really against all aggro decks.
Now, RDU hasn't played a pirate yet, and here we go. Oh, he had. My apologies. I thought he hadn't, and I was expecting to see Sassy Captain into patches, but never mind.
Oh, he did play it on turn 1, I believe.
He did. As rogues, especially aggressive rogues like this usually do. Okay. That dashes my hopes for now. We'll probably see Sassy Captain into patches a little bit later today, though, I'd have thought.
The Prodigious Blaze is much like the SI7 Agent, I feel. They're basically the same card, but then SI7 Agent is a 3/3 body. Really lucky for DrHippi, I suppose, that he picked it up.
Yeah. Whereas the Blade isn't quite as good because you can replace it with your hero power. These are some interesting swashbucklers here. Master of Disguise, also an interesting card. One that got nerfed, despite the fact nobody ever plays it in the deck. But one that could come in handy for DrHippi if he's able to maybe buff something up and then conceal it, or even reconceal Shaku after it exposes itself.
Reconciling Shaku would be interesting. Although I don't know if it'll help too much, since the Shaku... I don't think the Shaku should be primary target in here.
No. It's probably a little bit too slow. Although, RDU's swashbucklers have picked him up some nice 9-mana minions there.
Well, the 9 mana 9 enemies, I don't think he'll help in this matchup, but
No.
the way RD is playing right now, really aggressive. Has 10 damage on board, has 4 damage weapon in hand. And Hippie is just left with nothing, but one removal, a V-Street will be able to kill 7-3.
So I think a good rogue player knows when to go all in.
Mhm.
And RDU is certainly a good rogue player. He knows that he's unlikely to ever get to turn 9 this game. Those nine drops are completely useless. He's just going to go ahead and put everything he can on the board as quickly as possible, just applying the pressure to DrHippi and hoping that there's no way of DrHippi to clean this all up. That 7-3 South Sea Captain is a huge threat.
It is indeed, but it will be cleaned up nicely with a V-Street and hero power. Well, the weapon already has equipped killing 2-1 Buccaneer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It becomes a 2-1 after the captain dies, and suddenly things aren't looking as good for RDU. He's wishing those 9 mana minions.
Ooh. Shaco's
Just a
getting
little
buffed
cheaper.
up. In here... Oh yeah, of course he goes face.
This is actually interesting because RDU looks like he's almost run out of steam, but this is actually a decent board he's building up. He's got 2 damage on the weapon, an extra 2 damage there from the SS7 agent. DrHippi does have to deal with this.
Or does he? He might be able to just go face with a Cold-Blooded or a Dini Sand and Master of Disguise.
Oh my goodness.
Concealing it, he may be able to finish this game off in next turn or so.
I think you're right. He definitely could set up a 2-turn lethal here. It looks like he doesn't think that's the way out, though. He's going to go with the slightly safer play. Just make the trade. As we predicted earlier. Master of Disguise. Wow. Giving Shaku a guaranteed extra card there, and RDU, I believe, he doesn't run Fan of Knives, so unless one of those 9 mana Swashbuckler cards was Fan of Knives or Betrayal, that Shaku is completely safe.
Yeah, it is. I don't believe DrHippi has lethal here. 12, 16 damage he has. He just needs a ooh. Will the hang in?
That doesn't make a difference, does it? Maybe he could play Zarul.
It could make the difference, actually, with the Zaril, yes.
Yeah, Zarul into the card that gives 3 extra attack or deals 2 damage. If he gets one of those twice.
Or Cold-Blood. Nope, did not get the Cold-Blood with the Shaku. You would need a Cold-Blood instead of V3 because that will be out of the total mana after he places Zaril and Shadow Stab. And another Cold-Blood.
Alright, well, let's see. 2 damage.
That's the damage.
Is that
No,
just
he still
lethal?
needs 2 damage, I believe. Or... Oh, wait.
No, the weapon and the
Oh, yeah,
Identify
it
and
is
attack.
actually. I'm sorry.
Wow, that was...
Whoa.
The Shadow Step wasn't even required after all. Amazing.
I'm sorry, I miscounted.
No, it's fine. I was sitting there. You know, sometimes when you get so wrapped up in thinking about the play, the really obvious things in front of you kind of pass by, and I just assumed that the weapon or the 1-1 had already attacked, and they hadn't. So there's the game. DrHippi, 2-1 against RDU. It comes down to the Warrior Mirror match. This
And
could
Shaman
be the
Mirror
end of the
match
season.
coming up soon, but this could be the game decider, of course, for DrHippi.
Yeah, of course. It's still only a best out of 5. So if DrHippi wins this, we're not going to see the Shaman Mirror match.
No.
And if RDU loses this, then I believe he's out of the tournament entirely. It all comes down to this final, I guess, single elimination bracket.
It's unfortunate to see the single elimination bracket at the playoffs, by the way. I was a little hoping for double elimination, but then they had the second chance on first bracket, I guess, in the group stage.
Yeah, it's always hard to see the players get eliminated, especially when it comes down to single elimination. I know that this is something a lot of people have been talking about a lot recently after last weekend. It's a hot topic.
There was a player who went 7-1, and he was completely eliminated from the playoffs.
Right, it's just the latest
that was unfortunate.
in the Hearthstone drama. But At the moment, that's just the way it is in this tournament, so we're just going to have to go with it. And RDU is not out of the running just yet. It is completely reasonable to be able to win 2 mirrors.
Yep, especially when the RDU picked up the 1 drop, but DrHippi didn't. And DrHippi is struggling to get even 2 drop here. Whoa.
Wow.
It does play Celtic Captain, which brings up the 2-2 instead of 1-1 because it gets 1.
It happened.
The patch Captain with +1/+1
That-
buff from
that
Celtic
is-
Captain.
That is the play I was talking about earlier. I said that we were bound to see it at some point, and there it is. Same series.
But how will he respond to the Frothing Berserker, the greatest, coming pretty soon? I think that Frothing Berserker will be just the game winner for RDU, possibly.
Yeah, it's disappointing to want to call it this early, but as we can all see, DrHippi has no answer at the moment for that Frothing Berserker.
No, he doesn't have the
also-
board, he's lacking the damage, he does not have a weapon. Everything just seems to be going really against DrHippi here.
The other thing is that, well, it doesn't matter so much now Small Time Buccaneer's been picked up, but DrHippi also couldn't deal with patches, which means this Blood Cell Cultist will be buffing up the Fiery War Axe. And the damage is just really piling up on DrHippi. I don't think there's any way he can come back. I guess now he was planning on playing the Corcoran, hitting the Frothing Berserker, but there's still 11 damage on the board.
Yes. Oh boy, and Heroic Strike just in case the RDU did not have enough damage.
Yeah. Well, that's 15
Comes extra
damage.
4.
Steady Shot would have made it 17 damage this turn, but there's no Steady Shot. We're going to go with Life Tap instead. I just don't see a way that DrHippi comes back from this. It's one of those typical Warrior Mirror matches where something powerful comes down on turn 3, and that's the game. Just right there.
Wow, that is, yep. The game has been already decided on turn 3. And here
Yeah.
it goes, DrHippi conceding. Who's death?
It speaks to the strength of the Frothing Berserker as well. It's just, we talk about cards that have a pseudo taunt, like Emperor Thorisan, many cards in Hearthstone that kind of do have taunt. We're at the stage now where Aggro Shaman has been pretty much solved. It's universally agreed this is the best list. There was a little while where Doomhammer was being played, and sometimes we've seen a little bit of Earthshock being played, and even Devolve.
Oh, that was a long time ago though.
Right, but this is the king list, as both of
This
these
is
players.
the ultimate
Right,
Aggro Shaman.
exactly. And looking at their opening hands here, RDU not picking up anything to play on turn 1, and
No.
he's only got Jade Claws to play on turn 2.
It
But
might be okay though,
DrHippi-
because Jade Claw is amazing against the small time Buccaneer. Oh, that's
no.
unfortunate.
That is frustrating. Not only by picking up patches does RDU not get to summon it for free, but it also means that he's going to be 1 card less deep into his deck when he eventually does play a pirate. That's the great thing about patches, is it thins out the deck. It brings all of your better stuff closer to the surface, but unfortunately RDU had to spend an entire card draw on a Stone Tusk Boar.
Oh yeah, just Stone Tusk 4 for 1 entire card. If you don't pick it up though, it's just for 0 mana, 1/1 charge and draw a card. Oof,
Yeah, right?
What a value of it.
So good, but RDU not thinking about that right now. He's just thinking about how frustrating it is that DrHippi just summoned this one for free, and he has to spend 1 mana, add 1 card draw on it. DrHippi,
I wonder
though,
what the odds are actually to draw into patches. And we've seen patches drawn, I believe every single game except the Warrior Mirror.
well, the odds are 1 in however many pirates you actually run, right? So, like, if RDU is running double Small Time Buccaneer, double Southsea Deckhand, and patches, the chances
Well,
of
I
drawing
meant
patches first.
to have the patch in the hand before you can play those pirates. Or turn 2 or 3
I guess it's
on your starting turn.
Yeah, I
Like
guess it's
1
ever so
10.
slightly higher than 1 in 5.
Now, RDU can clear this board, either using weapon or not. You could actually save the weapon and then just play the small time Buccaneer, it'll be 3-2.
It's really tricky because RDU needs to start thinking about how he's going to not only deal with DrHippi's threats, but actually build up a board of his own. He's quite behind But he does need to start dealing damage eventually, or he's just going to fall further behind. He managed to get the board back, hold on to the weapon, and develop this small-time Buccaneer. So it's looking a little bit better for RDU now. But that Spirit
Well,
Claws
the
and
RDU
Thanos...
was, by the way, to clarify, the RDU was not behind in board, he has a weapon, he has a board, but he's behind in card and he's behind the curve.
Sure.
He had no 4-drop until he just picked up the greatest 4-drop in the game, by the way.
Yeah, that does change things a little bit. Picking up, after a really bad hand, picking up the Flamewreath Faceless to play on turn 4 when your opponent doesn't have a board, or when you're able to deal with your opponent's board straight away, rather.
It's so scary card.
Yeah, it could be the swing RDU needed.
This matchup is usually decided by trading early on, but that card is one card that's too beefy, you might not be able to just clear it up so early. DrHippi decided to go for the trade, though.
Okay, sure. So, deciding that he has nothing that can win the race against this 7 attack terror on the other side of the
mighty
board.
7/7.
Yep. Infamous, I think, at this point. But, you know, it's not so bad for RDU. Yeah, he had to take one turn to kind of lick his wounds and just use his hero power. Next turn, he can curve into Aya. And I believe he's on 2/2 Jade, so it's not that strong, but then he gets a 3/3 as well after Aya dies.
And then when Aya dies,
yeah,
comes 4/4.
It's a nice little turnaround.
I thought the DrHippi would be actually ahead, but ooh, with another Jade Club, will this be the Jade Shaman instead of aggro?
Yeah, well, it's just an ultimate win
shoot,
condition,
just
isn't
2/2.
it? It's funny, it's kind of like back in the day when Druid used to race everyone else by ramping up their mana. Now these Jade cards, or these Jade decks, have their own little race, which is who can create the biggest Jades first, because it's just such a powerful mechanic when you can claw yourself ahead.
Yeah, usually you don't, although usually you don't have actually enough time to build the Jades up.
No.
Because the meta is so aggressive, at least in tournaments.
DrHippi now picking up his second Jade Lightning as well. Now he decides he can win the race. So just gonna get rid of that 2/2, leave Aya up. It's just a little bit too awkward to deal with, having to kill Aya, then kill the Jade that comes out of it. And instead, he's just going to make the biggest board that he can and start doing some maths. How long is it going to take him to win this game?
Well, depends on what RDU decides here, right? Because RDU can decide to go for board clear, well, as much as possible, or can decide to race alone, but I don't think it will be too wise here with the 4 minions on DrHippi's side.
He can do a pretty good job of clearing the board here as well, like you said, if he wants to. He could play Jade Lightning on a Zerdrake. He could even Lava Burst Totem Golem if he wanted to, and then get the value trade with Aya, though that might be a little bit too defensive.
The Aya might trade into Totem Golem here, or will it become the value trade into 2/3? Because either way, you're establishing pretty good board, and your opponent, like the aggro shamans, don't usually run a Lightning Storm unless you're expecting mirror matchup.
Right.
And Master of Pearl isn't too strong to kill the 5/5 Jade that's gonna come out of Aya.
Well, RDU will actually know DrHippi's deck. The lists are public for the players. So he knows that there's one Maelstrom Portal in DrHippi's deck. And I guess he's thinking here, even if Maelstrom Portal comes down, it doesn't matter because Aya just becomes a 5/5. RDU has done a great job of turning this game around so far. However, he's run out of Jade Golems to play. And now DrHippi can come back, play his Jade Claws and his Jade Lightning and his Lightning Bolt, clear up a lot of this while also developing his own board of powerful
That will
minions.
sacrifice a lot of his cards though, and he'll be left with it. Ooh,
wow.
That is the best one drive you can pick up from the Maelstrom Portal, I believe.
Yeah, when you've got
even
two
better
weapons
than
in your hand,
2/4 in this matchup.
Right. So that's kind of made DrHippi's mind up, I think, about where he wants to go with this play. He's now going to go with the Spirit Claws and the Jade Lightning, use the 2/1 to trade into the 3/2.
Or the 5/5. Well, I suppose it will be just clean the most. He has a lot more health than RDU. He can sacrifice some of it.
Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. He does only have a 2/2 Jade though. His Jades haven't grown quite as much as RDU's have, which means if RDU picks up another Jade generator card soon, maybe his second Jade Lightning, that could be a little bit too much for DrHippi to deal with.
Isn't that the only Jade card he has left, though?
I think so, yeah. He's been through a lot of them, that's for certain.
Now DrHippi is left with very little in his hand. While RDU has a quite nice set of nice set of cards. He can establish a board he just drawn with the Azure Drake, and DrHippi here might have to burn Lava Burst on the 4/4 that drawn RDU a card.
Yeah, it really is switching over. RDU showing us that the game's not over as soon as you pick up patches in your opening hand.
Well, if you can top deck the 4-drop 7/7, just like RDU, if you have that skills, the game is not over.
It does help for sure. And I think you're right. I think DrHippi may have to play this Lava Burst. Then again, he does have a Taunt Totem up. He may decide that's enough, and that.
Yeah. If he has a Taunt Totem, he doesn't have to kill any of this. Although he may. He's thinking about it.
Yeah.
He's thinking about it pretty hard.
He's doing it.
And he decided to do it. Ooh, this is huge. And DrHippi now left with a very little to go face. RDU still has a Lava Burst, it still has Flanking Totem. If circumstances prove it, RDU can go face for 10 to 15 damage in one turn, whereas DrHippi just left floated Lightning Bolt, 3 damage.
It's funny to think how much which totems you get can dramatically affect your playstyle, because if DrHippi got the spell damage totem before, he could have just dealt with that card with the Lightning Bolt.
He could have, but I think he would have still used the Lava Burst on this as 6/3 for 1 minute.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess in the long run, it wouldn't have made any kind of difference. And also, if DrHippi got the spell damage totem, RDU could have, I believe, hit the face that turn.
Or if RDU gotten the spell power totem here, the game would have been over, although it is pretty similar coming down to the end here.
Yeah, there's no board clear left in DrHippi's deck. He gets Aya, which RDU picked up earlier, and it ended up being vital. Is this too late for DrHippi?
It actually might. Oh, I believe so, actually. Now I believe it's too late.
Yeah.
Now RDU can actually just go straight face. There's nothing in DrHippi's hand or deck that can deal with the RDU's board right now. Feral Spirits are, by the way, really, really good late game. Although it may not as good early game because it can be cleared up with the Spirit Claws, but there's no Spirit Claws in DrHippi's hand. He's top decking. How does he deal with this?
Yeah. I mean, you're right, Feral Spirits, just especially when combined with a Flamesong totem, can completely just protect your powerful board and also allow you to push extra damage, thanks to cards like Tunnel Troll that even get a buff when you play it. But you're right, DrHippi just can't deal with this, and as we can see, there is a Lava Burst in RDU's hand.
Unless this is the Taunt Totem, which it isn't, the game goes to RDU.
It looked like DrHippi was going to take this series earlier, but as we said, it is possible to win 2 mirrors in a row, and RDU has done it. He is going to be moving forwards into day 2 of the playoffs tomorrow. Wow, what a great series to get us started.
That was a really, really aggressive, at the same time pretty close game.
Подписывайтесь на канал, залетайте на стримы каждую субботу, Чел старается для вас.